Elon Musk continues to make Donald Trump's Epstein scandal all the much worse, and he's doing it not just because he has implicated Trump from the start with the first post he made announcing that Trump was in the files, but because his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein tells a broader story about everyone in and around this administration and how our country, for so long, has been governed by this Epstein class, how the rich and powerful have made decisions at every level of government to make your life worse and protect their friends. Elon Musk is not only exposing the lies that he told and why he originally supported Donald Trump. The real reason wasn't because he hated woke. I think it's obvious what it is at this point. And he's exposing so many other rich, powerful elites in the process. And that is exactly what Senator Jon Ossoff had to say tonight in a clip that I think perfectly sets the tone for the new photo of Elon and Epstein that was just released and is making Donald Trump spiral.
Now, you remember, we were told that MAGA was for working class Americans. You remember that? But this is a government of, by, and for the ultra-rich. It is the wealthiest cabinet ever. This is the Epstein class ruling our country. They are the elites they pretend to hate. So prices are up, jobs are going away, Medicaid and school lunches are slashed, nursing homes are getting defunded. If you're Steve Bannon, and your pitch was Trump for the forgotten man and woman, how do you sell any of this? Trump was supposed to fight for the working class. Instead, he's literally closing rural clinics and hospitals to cut taxes for George Soros and Elon Musk. He was supposed to end the globalist world police foreign policy. Instead, we're doing war for oil and nation building again and threatening to conquer Greenland. He was supposed to drain the swamp. Instead, this is the most corrupt administration of all time, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Listen.
I wanted to start with that clip, not only because we desperately need to re-elect Senator Ossoff, and honestly, given the competition, if you even want to call it that, down in Georgia, it's not the most worried I've ever been about an election. We still have to turn out. Donald Trump is already trying to steal votes in that election, so more than ever, we need to be putting some people on the ground. We need to be turning out. That is a different video, though. What Senator Ossoff said is spot on. Donald Trump's cabinet is the wealthiest in history. He has surrounded himself by billionaires always. That is the people, that is the class of people that Donald Trump wants around him. Donald Trump hates his supporters. He thinks they're stupid. He thinks they're gullible. He's right about it. It's one of the few things that Donald Trump is right about. He has used them to finance his life, to finance his political campaigns, to finance his lawsuits, to finance fighting back against real accountability on every front. In court, in the electoral process, Donald Trump has always been a leech on his supporters because they are dummies. And who has he surrounded himself with? The same people who prey upon them, the rich, powerful elites who are in the Epstein class, much like Elon, but maybe even more importantly, we're going to get into that photo, but Howard Lutnick. Important reminder, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and Jeffrey Epstein were in business together, the new Epstein files show. We covered this, but Congressman Garcia said Trump Commerce Secretary Lutnick said he had zero interactions with Epstein after 2005. Looks like they were in business together as late as 2015. We have some serious questions. We should have some serious questions. These are the people who are running our biggest financial institutions. They are now running our government, and they are looking out for each other. They have told us lie after lie after lie about their involvement with Epstein, and it is all finally coming out, and everyone is being affected, including Elon Musk. Sharing a new photo of Musk, Brian Krasenstein writes, new image that Elon Musk was in was sent by Jeffrey Epstein to himself. This image in 2015 shows an Epstein dinner with Zuckerberg, Musk, and Peter Thiel. Why the hell was he invited to dinner with those three men, being that he pled guilty to being a pedo in 2008? As you can see, this email reads, where are you? I might be in LA Monday, Burbank to look at the interior of the other BBJ. Tonight dinner with Musk, Thiel, Zuckerberg. There you can see a photo of Mark Zuckerberg, and where it points to Elon Musk, yeah, that looks like Elon Musk. So Elon, who was so adamant that he wasn't in the files and the emails that he sent begging to go to Jeffrey Epstein's island, those were completely misconstrued. And you know, I didn't even know anything that was going on, except for the fact that I did, and all my buddies did. Do you think Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and Peter Thiel, who spend millions of dollars a year on their PR, The only reason that any of these guys ever had decent public standing is because of the millions that are dumped into telling a story that Elon was this hardworking guy and he's a genius and he's a once-in-a-generation brain, even though, he's a Nepo baby whose dad made money off the slaves, essentially, that he owned in South Africa, that Elon came to this country as an illegal immigrant. Elon and his brother have admitted that, and he profited off of the billions in subsidies that he was able to get from the federal government and still does. But that's not the story his PR people teach him, or tell us. No. And do you really think that those same people who craft the narrative for Elon, who craft the narrative for Zuckerberg, would have let them go to dinner with Jeffrey Epstein, not knowing who Jeffrey Epstein was? They didn't care because they don't believe accountability exists for them. You throw enough money at a problem, you're fine, at least for them. But when it comes to spending on healthcare or transit or battling climate change for the people without bunkers, for nuclear destruction or whatever it is in Hawaii or New Zealand, they say, well, how are we going to pay for that? When it's Elon Musk subsidies, we have plenty of money and more. It's a slush fund. But for everyone else, meh. And that's the Epstein class. That is the Epstein class. People who feel wholly unaccountable to anything. And that is who Donald Trump represents. That is what John Ossoff called out tonight. And that is what Elon Musk continues to prove. That he got in good with Trump because he was going to protect him. Financially, he was going to try to protect his reputation. Do you think it's a coincidence that guys like Zuck, guys like Thiel, who of course has always been a right-winger, guys like Elon Musk, all these billionaires have fallen in line now that Donald Trump is ready to protect them in these files? Don't we think those things are not a coincidence? That maybe the billionaires realized that people were kind of catching on to them, and then this other billionaire, who was the best at any of them in tricking the public, might be able to help them out? Donald Trump is an elite. He's the president of the United States. He was the president before. He's been a billionaire for decades. Well, maybe not on paper. Pronounced himself to be a billionaire for decades. Certainly now is that he's stolen so much money from the federal government. Now we know that Donald Trump actually has the cash liquid, because he took it from you and me. Let's make that much clear. But he's always been an elite. That's why I wanted to start with that clip of John Ossoff. Everything he said was so bang on, I don't even need to repeat it, but I'm gonna. Because they rail against what they are. No one projects more than Donald Trump does, and every single person who surrounds him. And again, that is why this Elon photo is so important, because these people have lied to us for so long, and they have gotten bailed out financially, reputationally, around every corner. And they deny that to us. Not a bailout, but what we are deserved from our government. They tell us no. They tell it's not possible. They pay, again, millions and billions of dollars to convince us that for things to be better, it is impossible. But that they're okay, that they're great guys, that they're self-made, that don't look into it too much. And so I think more than just accountability for their crimes, I think there needs to be accountability and a real reckoning with the lies that we were told about these people. Lies that I know many of us have never believed. But I think it's fundamentally time to change the narrative and to kind of do away with what we've been told about this class of people that runs our government, that runs our financial institutions, that runs our universities, that runs our media, certainly. Every time I see an anchor on CNN or NBC, certainly Fox, go, we really got to stress that being in the Epstein files doesn't inherently make you a criminal. I go, it's interesting that they really want to stress that, because they don't ever really want to seem to stress the fact that Donald Trump breaks the law. So when it's don't think this guy broke the law, they got to stress it. But when Donald Trump's breaking the law, it's, Mr. Trump and Democrats disagree on whether or not he can nationalize elections. Donald Trump and Democrats have difficult conversations about whether he should run for a third term or not. Then they don't really seem too interested in telling us what's illegal and what's not. But when their boss is in the files, when a shareholder's in the files, then they got to really try to, to soften up the edges of that thing, don't they? So we really need to look at our big institutions. We need to look at this Epstein class. We need to start calling them out. And we need to be very loud about it. And I think Elon is giving us every opportunity to do so. And every time that something we say about Epstein or something that we say about Elon or any of them is kind of suppressed, you're not seeing it too much on Twitter. You're not seeing it too much on Instagram. Certainly now you're not seeing it too much on TikTok. Larry Ellison bought that platform to make sure you couldn't talk about genocide, make sure you couldn't talk about Jeffrey Epstein. I think we should realize what's happening. I think we got to be a lot louder about it. but the influence over our media, over our institutions, over what we consume, what they want us to be able to talk about.